Namo Loe Soyantam, Namo Loe Sovidam, Namo Loe Sovairiyam, Namo Loe Sojayam, Namo Loe Sotivavati Savanam, Omkara Mindu Sanyukta Nityam Jayanti Yogina, Kamadam Mokshadam Sri Omkara Namo, Manganam Bhagavan Yo Manganam Gokamo, Manganam Kunsundari Vijendram Vosumangaram Namasunari Sadhaya. Swanubhutya Jatha Sthiti Svaya Bhavaya Vibhava Nidhana.
Om Namo Loe Sarvatrika Varti Aryantanam. Om Namo Loe Sarvatrika Varti Siddhanam. Om Namo Loe Sarvatrika Varti Airyanam. Om Namo Loe Sarvatrika Varti Vajjayanam. Om Namo Loe Sarvatrika Varti Savanam. Omkaram Bindu Sanyuktam Nityam Dhyayanti Yoginam Kamadam Mokshadam Chaiva Omkaraya Namo Namah. Namah Samay Saraya Swanubhutya Chakasate Chitsavavaya Bhavaya Sarva Bhavantarachide Agnanatimirandhanam Gnana Anjana Salakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah. Tirthankaro Jagatana Jayavanta Varto Omkaranad Jinano Jayavanta Varto Jinana Samo Sarana Sau Jayavanta Varto Ne Tirthachara Jagama Jayavanta Varto Namo E Tirthanayakane Namo Omkaranadane Omkara Sangaryotene Namo Te Sri Kunda Kundane Aho Upakara Jinavarano Kundano Dvani Divyano Jina Kunda Dvani Apya Aho Te Guru Kanano Aho Te Bhagavati Matano Dhruva Achalane Anupamagati Pamel Sarve Siddhane Vandi Kahon Sutta Kevali Bhasita Asamaya Prabhata Are Vivek Suddha Sada Arupi Jnana Darshanamay Khare Kai Anyate Maru Jari Paramanu Matra Nathi Hari Jam Netra Te Maj Jnana Nathi Karak Nathi Vedak Are Jane Jakar Modaya Nirajara Bandate Maj Mokshane Om Namah Siddhibhyo Om Namah Siddhibhyo Om Sri Suddhatmane Namaha. Jai Jinendra. One second. Okay, so today is January 18, 2016, and 2017, not 16, 2017. And we are doing our regular Swadhyay on Samaysar. We are doing on Samaysar stanza 11. As we said, this is extremely important stanza. And
Kirit uncle.
Yes.
Your background is a green screen. It's no longer your picture.
Yeah, I know. Because
I don't know if you want to do that for your recording. So just giving you a heads up.
No, I know, but because there is a problem today, so it's okay, no problem.
Okay, sorry for the interruption.
Yeah. So what we are going to do is we are going to continue with the stanza 11. As we said, it is extremely important and extremely microscopic. So many things are written in this stanza. Actually, stanza is only 2 lines. Kunkun Acharya Dev wrote down only 2 lines of the stanza 2000 years back in Prakrit language, which was a common language at the time. 1000 years back, Amrit Chandra Acharya Dev wrote down the commentary in Sanskrit. Then about 200 years back or so, Jaichandji Chabla, he is a Pandit and he is a learned person. So he analyzed those Sanskrit commentary that Amrit Chandra Acharya wrote down, and he explained somewhat. And thereafter, he gave Bhavat, mean detailed explanation of the stanzas. So this is the way the things are flowing. And so we know it where we are. We are in 11th stanza. And 11th stanza gives the description about conventional point of view and absolute point of view. And we'll be talking about that one. Remember, we have talked for last few weeks. Same thing, conventional point of view and absolute point of view. And when we entered 11th stanza, we said that now everything is going to be turning around. Tables are going to turn around, and it's going to be totally different way Amrit Chandra Acharya will present to us. So without delay, I'll go to the slideshow and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so here we are talking conventional point of view. Conventional point of view for soul. How is a soul involved in a conventional point of view? Here in this stanza, Amrit Chandra Acharya Dev, he puts everything, all the conventional point of view, only into the soul's sphere of action. He doesn't go out of the soul's sphere of action. Whatever soul does, he put those convention point of view. And so how does he do that? Or how does he do that? So first thing, he says that illumination, excuse me, inclination of attachment. Inclination of attachment, that means rag, my likes and dislikes. So inclusive attachment is over here. It gets illuminated into the knowledge mode. Just because rag is there, just because inclination of attachment is present, it gets illuminated into the knowledge mode. There's a mirror. Just because I'm standing there, mirror shows my reflection. Just because I'm standing there, mirror is showing the reflection. Just because I have inclination of attachment within me, it gets reflected into the knowledge mode. So, inclination of attachment illuminated in the knowledge mode. There are two types of inclination of attachment. This knowledge mode has limitations. In people like us, people like those who are in the first spiritual development stage, that this knowledge mode is not completely blossomed out. So it has its own limitation. This knowledge mode is partially expressed. So in the partially expressed knowledge mode, some of the inclination of attachment gets reflected, which is called coarser form of the inclination of attachment, and the very finer points of the inclination of attachment, they get reflected, but knowledge mode does not have capacity to grab them, even though they are reflected. But knowledge mode does not have capacity to analyze that one. So coarser and finer form of inclination of attachment getting illuminated in the knowledge mode. Each and every word is very important. So remember, this is knowledge, this is inclination of attachment. because it's an inclination of attachment is present, that's why it gets illuminated in the knowledge mode. Just because I am standing in front of the mirror, that's why mirror shows my reflection. Just because there is a fire in front of the mirror, that's why fire is getting illuminated in the mirror. Just because snow is present in front of the mirror, so snow gets reflected in the mirror. Just inclusive attachment is present, it gets illuminated in the knowledge mode. Again, coarser and finer form. And these two things, inclusive attachment, which is a coarser form, inclusive attachment, which is a finer form, both are getting illuminated in the knowledge mode, and that's why they are called Asadbut, Upcharit, and Anupcharit. Again, Asadbut, Upcharit, and Anupcharit means conventional point of view with figurative point of view expressing unity of the distinct entity. That's a Upcharit Asadbut Vyavarne. And conventional point of view with literal point of view expressing unity of different substances, that's a Anupcharit Asadbut Vyavarne. So these are the lowest form of a conventional point of view. Sorry. Where am I? Yes. So those things getting illuminated because coarser form, that's a Upcharit Asadbut. Finer form, Anupcharit Asadbut, convention point of view, and because inclination of attachment is here. Remember, the weight we are giving is inclination of attachment's presence. Just the way I'm standing in front of the mirror, and that's why mirror shows my reflection. That means I have to be present. And that's why this is called Asadbut, Upcharit, Anupcharit. Now, here, what we are saying, inclusive of attachment getting illuminated. Here, knowledge mode knows inclusive of attachment by itself. For example, I am present in front of the mirror, and that's why mirror shows the reflection. That's number one. Just I am present, and that's why my reflection is shown in the mirror. That is this guy, first guy. Here, next thing, knowledge mode itself shows the illumination. That means mirror has its own capacity to illuminate the alien objects. And that's why alien objects gets illuminated in the knowledge, in the mirror. First one, in this first part, we are saying, I am present, that's why I'm reflected in the mirror. Now, in second bullet, second red bullet, it says, because mirror has a capacity to illuminate, and that's why I'm getting illuminated inside. If suppose I'm standing in front of a wall, can the wall show me my illumination? No, because wall does not have capacity to illuminate. If I'm standing in front of the mirror, yes, mirror is illuminating me, because mirror has its own intrinsic capacity to illuminate object. Same way here, knowledge mode has intrinsic capacity to illuminate alien object. And alien object being inclination of attachment. So inclination of attachment is getting reflected in the knowledge mode, because knowledge mode has an alien illumination property. Alien illumination property means what? There is a light in this room. This light is showing all the objects in the room. But to see the light, I need another light, right? No. Light illuminates the whole room, and lights illuminates the self also. I don't need another lamp to see this light. So light is self-illuminating and life is alien illuminating. Similarly here, knowledge mode has an alien illumination property, and that's why it is reflecting increase of attachment within that knowledge mode independently by knowledge mode only. Taking the example of the mirror. Mirror illuminates the alien objects. At the same time, mirror also illuminates the self. So this alien illumination property of the knowledge mode is responsible for illumination of increase of attachment within that knowledge mode. There is a quiet lake in the night. It's a moonless night. Millions of stars are in the sky. And I am seeing the illumination of those stars in this quiet water. Do these stars seen in the water, is it because stars are present? Or it's a property of the water to illuminate those stars in the sky? Both the things are there. Stars are there and water illuminates. Same way here. Increase of attachment is there. That is getting illuminated. That's your first red bullet. Knowledge mode illuminates the increase of attachment. That is the alien illumination property of the knowledge mode. So now this knowledge mode belongs to me as a soul. I'm the soul substance, have infinite attributes, and one extraordinary attribute of knowledge is there. And this knowledge, when it comes in the form of mode, transformation, in terms of pariyai, then this mode has self-illumination property and alien illumination property. So in this alien illumination property, the knowledge mode has it, and that's why it's called Sadbut Upcharit conversion point of view. Last bullet. Remember here, we are talking knowledge mode having alien illumination property, but knowledge mode also self-illumination property. And in the self-illumination property, knowledge mode reflects the knowledge, reflects the soul substance. Lamp has an alien illumination property, so lamp is illuminating the whole room. But lamp also has its own self-illumination property, so lamp illuminates the lamp. So knowledge mode illuminates the soul substance, which is integral part of the soul structure. Soul structure has a soul substance, knowledge attribute, and knowledge mode. So in the knowledge mode where the actions are occurring, then it illuminates the eternal true nature of the self, soul, as a self-illumination property, and that's called Sadbut Anupchari. So this is the way, in this stanza, all these convention point of view are described. So Amrit Chandra Acharya Dev, he doesn't get out of the soul's periphery. He remains within the within the confinements of the soul, and he makes all this division of the convention point of view, staying in the boundary of the soul. So he has no relationship with any other objects of the universe. Soul itself. Having said that, again, we saw pictorially last time, soul is a substance, has a knowledge attribute and knowledge mode, and this mirror acts as a knowledge mode. Until now, we are into the boundary of the soul, and this boundary of the soul has a capacity of increase of attachment, is known as an object of knowledge, as it object of knowledge. So just remember this first two lines alone. So increase of attachment is an object of knowledge, and so that object of knowledge is getting illuminated into the mirror, means knowledge mode. Now, shape of the knowledge mode occurring by itself. This shape, this influence of attachment occurred in the knowledge mode, occurred because of the property of the mirror, property of this knowledge mode. And this guy simply acts as an instrumental cause. Now, so the illumination property is nature of the knowledge mode. Now, so what happened? This knowledge mode is not fully blown. It's not fully blossomed out. So part of the influence of attachment is a coarser form that is getting reflected, and finer form is also getting reflected, but finer form is not picked up by the knowledge mode because knowledge mode has not blossomed out completely. It's not full blown knowledge mode. There are the knowledge mode has diminished capacity right now. For example, if we talk about bacteria, one cell's life, how much knowledge they have it? Minimal. Minimal means if you put agar plate into the pathological lab and put the urine with the infected bacteria, this agar plate becomes a food for this bacteria, and bacteria will grow. On the next petri dish, varieties of antibiotics are put along with this infected urine, and whatever antibiotic works, then those bacteria will die. So to grow or to die, that is the knowledge bacteria has. A given bacterium has it, and so either it just, when the food is there, it grows, or antibiotic is there, it shrinks, it dies. So that much amount of knowledge they have, there's nothing no more than that. Knowledge says grow when the food is there and extinct when the food is not there. Then we take the 2 sense animals, 3 sense animal, 4 sense animal. For example, if we take an ant, ant's knowledge shows wherever there is sugar to get attracted, and if there is a fire, then to run away from there. So that much knowledge ant has it. Us as a human being, we are on the higher level of form, higher level of evolution. So our knowledge is somewhat sharper, and I have a discriminating knowledge. Thing which I like it, I get attracted. Thing which I don't like it, I go away from it. I'm talking about human being. Now, in human being, after knowledge gets purer and purer and everything, and if one starts climbing to the spiritual development stage, and he reaches to the 13th spiritual level stage, then he has a totally full-blown knowledge. He knows everything about the self, and he knows everything about the universe. So my knowledge right now is limited, it's blunted. That's why coarser form of inclusiveness of attachment is perceived by me, and final form is not perceived by me. Now we are talking other way around. We say, wait a second, here inclusiveness of attachment is present, that's why it's getting reflected, that's what we are talking. But knowledge mode says, wait a second, I have a capacity of myself. I have a capacity of knowing self and knowing alien objects. Independently, I can know those things. So, me as a knowledge mode, inclusive attachment is present. I can see with my own capacity. So, that's called alien illumination property of this knowledge mode. We also talk about self-illumination property of the knowledge mode. What happens here? That there is eternal soul substance is getting reflected into the knowledge mode because of the self-illumination property. So over here now we look at it. This is Upcharit, Asadbhut, Vyavarnai, and Anupcharit, Asadbhut, Vyavarnai, means coarser and finer form of a rag getting reflected here. Thereafter, it says, I am the reason for illumination of this thing. So it's called Upcharit, Sadbhut, Vyavarnai. And I have the self-illumination property. So it's called Anupcharit, Sadbhut, Vyavarnai. Having said that, now we are going to go further detail. Inclusive attachment can be in the form of coarser form or finer form. Yes, we talked about it. Means it is called Buddhi Purvak no Rag or Abuddhi Purvak no Rag. Means the inclusive attachment getting picked up by the intellect, and because intellect is not that sharp enough, that some of the finer form of inclusive attachment is not getting perceived. So it's called Abuddhi Purvak no Rag. Buddhi means the intellect, associated with the intellect to know inclusive attachment. Abuddhi Purvak means my intellect, beyond my intellect to pick it up, that finer form of inclusive attachment, and that is Abuddhi Purvak no Rag. Now, this is first two bullets are telling that inclusive attachment is present. That's why knowledge mode ends up knowing. But third bullet says inclusive attachment as an object can be perceived by the knowledge mode, because knowledge mode has an alien illumination property. Because how? That knowledge mode independently ends up knowing illumination of attachment, inclusive attachment. Sorry. Knowledge mode perceives rag, means inclusive attachment. At that time, inclusive attachment is simply an instrumental cause. Again, our definition of instrumental cause, we have to remember well. What is it? When an act is getting done in a principal subject, then associative favorable things present is called instrumental cause. Second condition. Instrumental cause is present but does not take part into the reaction of the principal cause. Two-part definition. One, instrumental cause means when an act is getting done in a principal subject, at that time associative favorable situation present is called instrumental cause, and this instrumental cause does not take part in the reaction of the principal subject. Principal subject does all the work. This guy is simply present as an instrumental cause, favorable situation, simply present, but does not take part into the reaction. For example, we have talked several times. Fish swimming in the water. Fish is a principal subject, and fish is swimming by its own capacity to swim. At that time, fish is swimming. At that time, water is simply an instrumental cause because it's a favorable situation. So water's presence is important for fish to swim. But water has not taken care of anything simply besides having presence, does not do anything to the fish to swim. Fish is swimming by itself. So water is the instrumental cause and fish swimming is a principal cause. Over here, increase of attachment perceived in the knowledge mode, perception, illumination into knowledge mode. That is a principal act. And at that time, increase of attachment simply as an instrumental cause. Its presence is important, presence is there, but did not take part into the reaction of the illumination. For example, if there is a fire in front of a mirror, excuse me, there's a fire in front of a mirror, mirror will illuminate the fire. Excuse me. Mirror will illuminate the fire, but mirror will not become hot. Fire simply as an instrumental cause, its presence is important, but principal action is occurring in the mirror in the form of illumination, and that is occurring by mirror's own capacity. Excuse me. Now the knowledge mode also has a self and alien knowing capacity, a self and alien illumination property. And so because it's an alien illumination property, that's why knowledge mode is reflecting increase of attachment within its knowledge mode. Now, knowledge mode has self and alien knowing capacity, means knowledge knows by itself. Knowledge doesn't need anybody's help. Knowledge knows by itself. Knowledge mode does not need anybody else's help to know. My knowledge mode within me is independent, and it does function of self and alien illumination property by itself without anybody else's help. Instrumental cause could be present, but they don't take care of the reaction into the knowledge mode, knowledge mode's knowing capacity. Now, last part coming. This is the knowledge mode of self and alien illumination property. Alien illumination property means it reflects increase of attachment, but knowledge mode has a capacity of self-knowing, and so knowledge reflects the soul also, and that is its own self-illumination property. Gnante Atma. Knowledge and soul are inseparable. Knowledge and soul are so intermingled, so inseparable, so indivisible with each other. Means knowledge is there, means soul is there. Soul is there, means knowledge is there. They have inherent relationship. So they are one. But for sake of explanation, we are making division that knowledge is a soul. Knowledge is a soul. I made two things out of one indivisible, inseparable unit of knowledge and soul. So when I'm making for discussion purpose, when I'm making division in the indivisible thing, artificial division is created in the naturally occurring indivisible thing, then it is called conventional point of view. And all these bullets that we talk has reflected from the previous slide. So now, Vyavarnai means conventional point of view, stanza 11. What does it say? It says conventional point of view over here and over here. Let me move this guy. In conventional point of view, what happens here? Partial point of view and what happens exactly. So, Upcharit Asadbut Vyavarnai means conventional point of view with figurative point of view expressing unity of the distinct entity. That's the first conventional point of view we are taking out of 4 divisions. This is the lowest form of division. Conventional point of view with figurative point of view which expresses unity of totally distinct entity. This is different, and this is, so 2 different entities, it just shows the unity, and that is the conventional point of view with figurative point of view expressing unity of distinct entity, Upcharit Asadbut Vyavarnai. What happens here? Coarser form of inclusive attachment is getting known in the knowledge mode, means buddhi purvak no rag. Inclusive attachment is over here. It is inclusive attachment is over here. It's getting reflected in the knowledge mode. The coarser form of inclusive attachment is getting reflected here. For the sake of discussion in this stanza, even the inclusive attachment is considered as an object, as a non-living object. Remember, inclusive attachment occurs within me as a conscious natured soul, but it's transient in nature, and it can it can be removed. For example, I cannot be angry forever. My anger could be increasing or decreasing. My greed can be increasing or decreasing, but it doesn't remain constant, same all the time. So, inclusive attachment is considered as an object of knowledge. And coarser form of inclusive attachment is getting known in the knowledge mode. So that's called Upcharit Asadbut Vyavarnai. Next one. Anupcharit Asadbut Vyavarnai means something which is much more closer to the soul. So convention point of view with literal point of view expressing unity of different substances, and here it comes final form of inclusive attachment, this typo here, inclusive attachment is getting known in the knowledge mode of buddhi purvak no rag. So here is a knowledge mode, and here is a knowledge mode is over here, and final form of inclusive attachment is also getting reflected, but knowledge mode does not have sharpness, so cannot pick up this finer form of inclusive attachment, even though it's reflected in the knowledge mode. So that's why it's called Anupcharit Asadbut Vyavarnai. Convention point of view with literal point of view expressing unity of different substances. Until now, with these 2 convention point of view, we are making inclusive attachment as an object, as a principal thing, and getting reflected in the knowledge mode. We made that event as a secondary event. In the third situation, Upcharit Sadbut Vyavarnai what happens? It's a conventional point of view showing metaphorical expression of synthetic, pure, real, true point of view expressing difference between virtue and virtuous one. So here, what comes here? Knowledge mode ends up knowing increase of attachment by its own self and alien knowing illumination capacity. Swapar Prakashak. No, on first two, as we said, increase of attachment as an object was made principle. In this third conventional point of view, knowledge mode is made principal subject and increase of attachment is simply called instrumental cause. It's simply standing there, just like water for the fish. Water for the fish, if water is important, but does not do anything for the fish to swim. Same way here, increase of attachment is present, but it does not do anything in the nature of the knowing capacity of the knowledge mode. These increase of attachment is getting reflected because of the alien illumination property of the knowledge mode. Then comes the last part, conventional point of view with literal point of view expressing difference between pure virtue and virtuous one in an indivisible identical soul substance. What happens here? Knowledge is the soul. Means knowledge mode is over here and soul is integral part of the soul's circumference, and this eternal soul substance getting illuminated in the knowledge mode because knowledge mode has a self-illumination property. So over here, knowledge is a soul. So we are making divisions there. So this is the way four conventional point of view are represented in this 11th stanza, in which Acharya Bhagwan does not want to get out of the soul's circumference, soul's sphere of action. Everything that we saw occurred in the soul's sphere of action. And that's the greatness of Samaysar. Everything that Samaysar talks about keeps the center in the soul. Soul as a center. What is in for me? What is in for me? What is in for me? It's a self-centered thing. For example, we call stoppage of karma. The 9 elements we talked about: living, non-living, auspicious inclination, inauspicious inclination, inflow, bondage, stoppage, shading, and liberation. These 9 elements we talked. Now Tattva we talked about, which of course will come in the 13th stanza. But right now, so those are the things when we talk about it. When we come to the stoppage of when we come to stoppage of inflow, means we always say that karma stop coming to the soul. And in the standard textbook, there's a picture of the boat and there's a hole in the boat and water is getting rushed in. That example is given as a inflow of karma. Inflow of water coming because of that hole in the boat. So same way, inflow is coming to the inflow of karma coming to the soul. And now I want to stop. So first, the conventional example, they say you plug that hole. Means inflow of the water coming in the boat stops. That means karma coming to the soul stops. Here, soul is here and karma are here. Karma stop coming to the soul is called stoppage of karma. Samvar. It's called, the technical word is called samvar. Samvar means stoppage. Stoppage means karma inflow coming to the soul gets stopped. The water coming in the boat gets stopped because the hole get plugged. Here we are talking karma and soul. We are talking karma is totally matter particle, totally different substance, and soul is over here. So Samaya doesn't believe that language. Samaya says, what happens to me as a soul? When inflow of karma stops, what happens to me as a soul? I want to know me first. What happens to me here? Then Acharya Bhagavan says, purity gets generated into the soul. When purity gets generated, that means karma by themselves stop coming to the soul. Karma do not need to be thrown out. They automatically stop coming to the soul because samvar means purity beginning into the soul. So each time we talked about anything, we have to keep the soul in the center and find it out. What happens to me? What happens to me? These are the situations we have to have this mindset. So over here, in all the fourth convention point of view, what happened? There is the soul never came out of its own boundary. And all these four things are included in the boundary of the soul. Having said that, now we are going to go to individual points and try to understand a little bit better. So, Upcharit, Asadbhut, Vyavahar nahi. Conventional point of view means Vyavahar nahi. Conventional point, Vyavahar nahi. Upcharit means figurative point of view. Asadbhut, expressing unity of distinct entity. So that's my first lowest form of convention point of view. What happens there? Let's talk about it. We name, description, and what happens. Upcharit means symbolic, metaphorical, or figurative. What happens with that? It shows cause and effect between two different substances or their attributes or their modes. Two different substances, it shows this is a cause and this is the effect. Between two substances, two attributes, or two modes. Two attributes could be of the same substance, two modes of the same substance. So cause and effect relationship between two different entities. So what happens in this Upcharit? Symbolic, metaphorical, figurative. Inclination of attachment is present as an object. It's getting known by the knowledge mode, and that is Upchar. Even though it is present in the soul, can be removed. Means this inclination of attachment, even though it's present in the soul, can be removed, can be taken away, can be destroyed, can be thrown away, remains transient in nature. So that's called Upchar. For example, I have an anger within me right now. I'm angry right now. How long that will last? Seconds, minutes, hours, maybe days, weeks. Doesn't last for whole life. So it can be removed. So inclination is present in the soul, but can be removed. That's why it's called upchar, or it's called symbolic, it's called metaphorical, it's called figurative. I have an abscess on the hand. That abscess, this is a crude example, that abscess occurred to me. It didn't occur to you or you or you. So it occurred to me. So I'm the owner of that abscess. But do I keep it or throw it away? I don't like it. It pains me. It hurts me. Take it out. Let's go to doctor. Let's take antibiotic. Let's get it operated upon. And so even though it is within me, I need to throw it out. Same way, this inclusive attachment is present within me, but can be removed. Inclusive attachment means I can have anger, deceit, ego, greed. All these things can be present within me, but can be taken out, thrown out. And that's why they are called upcharit. Then comes asadbut. Upcharit means can be removed. Impure synthetic. Impure synthetic means expressing unity in two distinct entities. Here, perceivable inclusion of attachment, coarser form of inclusion of attachment, is not present in the soul substance, but is considered as one, and therefore asadbut means I am having inclusive attachment within me. Perceivable, remember perceivable, non-perceivable, coarser and finer. So this is a coarser form of inclusive attachment. Actually, it is generated in the soul substance, and also it's considered as one because it is the soul substance, even though it's separate. That's why it is called asadbut, impure synthetic. We have a convention point of view because it shows relationship between two entirely different entities. What are the two entities over here? One is seeing two different entities, soul and inclusive attachment. So these two entities are present and it is showing two different entities. That's why it is called convention point of view. And it is called, it is called Nai, means partial point of view, because it's part of the scriptural knowledge of right knowledge. Remember one fact, conventional point of view is a part of the scriptural knowledge. Srutagnan, the sacred knowledge, scriptural knowledge. Knowledge can be divided into 5 parts. Perceptive knowledge, scriptural knowledge, clairvoyance knowledge, telepathy knowledge, and omniscience knowledge. Once again, perceptible knowledge, scriptural or scriptural knowledge. Third one is called clairvoyance knowledge. Fourth one is called telepathy. And fifth one is called omniscience knowledge. Matignan, Srutagnan, Avadhignan, Manoparyagnan, Kevalgnan. Out of 5 knowledge parts, the Nai, partial point of view, is perceived only in the scriptural part of the knowledge. It's not present here in the perceptive knowledge. It's not present in the clairvoyance or telepathy or omniscience knowledge. Only in the Srutagnan, scriptural knowledge of the right knowledge, Nai. And with the sthul upyog, upyog means attentive consciousness, coarser form of gross form of attentive consciousness, one is able to perceive the reality from one angle, and that is called Nai. When reality has a multifaceted things, and multifaceted reality to be seen from one angle only, and that's called partial point of view. For example, I'm somebody's son, I'm somebody's father, I'm somebody's husband, I'm somebody's uncle, I'm somebody's nephew, I was physician before, I'm retired right now, I'm talking about the Samesar right now, I'm Jain, and all those multifaceted personality that I have it. That's called organ of knowledge, or that's called Praman Gnan, out of which we pick up one only, one facet, that is, we are in the Swadhyay class right now. That's all. So rest of the properties that I have is made secondary, and I give importance to the conducting Swadhyay session right now. That is principal thing we made it. That is called partial point of view. So we talk Upcharit Asadbhut Vyavarne, how that whole thing is getting divided. That's what we saw it. Next time we'll be seeing rest of the partial point of view and how they are derived, and so that way we have better understanding and that what is the nature of the convention point of view. Once we understand this finer form of convention point of view, the rest of the things are very easy. The rest of the things are very easy. In fact, I can assure you, I can challenge you, you are far, far, far ahead right now in understanding the scriptures. Because scriptures can be said from any different angles, any different partial point of view, and now you have the discrimination comes in your mind. Right away you will just say, okay, this is coming from certain partial point of view. And that kind of analytical mind occurs, and that's why your attentive consciousness becomes sharper and your capacity to grab the knowledge increases tremendously. And that's a whole aim over here. Whole aim is to understand who am I, where am I standing, and what I'm supposed to do for betterment of myself. I'm in transmigratory cycle since time infinite, but I need to be into my own nature, break this transmigration cycle, experience the bliss, get engrossed in my eternal soul substance, and obtain permanent, everlasting, unobstructed bliss lasting forever. That's our aim. That's what we are trying to work. So here we'll stop. I think almost time is there. If there's any question, we can entertain the question. We have a minute or two left.
So, Kiritanko, can you just go back to that first beginning slide for today? I think the first one.
This one?
No, there was a diagram. No.
Hold it. Let me just take this thing out here. Diagram you want to see, right?
Yeah.
Where's the diagram? Where did it disappear? I think it's here somewhere.
Yeah, it's not there.
40, 41.
I need to go.
Where did it disappear?
Is that it right there? What's that? 43.
No, there's not a diagram.
No, revising all forms of
It will come now. It will come now. No. Oh, here it is.
Oh, there it is.
This picture.
Yeah, this is the good one, right? So I'm going to try and make sure I understand one point here.
Okay.
So I get the self-illumination. That's fine.
Okay.
I get the coarser and the fine inclination of attachment. Those are the two, Apchurit and Anupchari Asadbud, right? And then the alien illumination, I just want to make sure I understand that. So this is the point of view of the knowledge mode, and the knowledge mode sees inclination of attachment, correct?
Yes.
And
what is happening here?
You're switching the principle, and then you're switching the principle and the nimit, right? Upadana and nimit, you're switching the two.
Okay, so this one, like, because influence of attachment is present, that is getting reflected. So we are giving this red guy, we are making this guy as a principal, and we are making this guy as a secondary. Secondary thing. So because we are giving importance to influence of attachment first, so coarser and finer form of influence of attachment getting known. So we are giving weight is given to influence of attachment over here.
Right. And then the other,
yeah.
So I want to make sure I understand. So the other way around, the soul can know whatever is on the outside. So I think
no. Soul has
the knowledge mode can know what is on the outside.
No, I mean, well, knowledge mode has a capacity within to illuminate anything outside, within. So this capacity is within. From here it is coming out. From the mode it is coming out. That's why I say alien illumination, because it is reflecting influence of attachment, or self-illumination when it makes the soul substance illumination.
So wait, so the green arrow, the knowledge mode is illuminating.
Yes.
The knowledge mode is being illuminated by IOA.
No. Knowledge mode illuminates IOA. So knowledge mode is the principle.
So IOA is being illuminated by the knowledge mode, is what you're saying.
Yeah. So knowledge mode is principle, gets done the work of illumination, and then IOA is getting illuminated.
Okay.
See, in the red arrow, this guy is a reason, and in green arrow, the knowledge mode is a reason for illumination. So you're looking from two different phases. The situation is same. Influence of attachment is present here, and it is getting reflected over here. That's a situation. But now, do I give weight to the influence of attachment, or do I give weight to the illuminating property? Do I give importance to the fire present, or do I give importance to the mirror having capacity to illuminate?
Okay.
So fire is getting illuminated for sure, but how did that reaction occur? Because the mirror itself created the image, and at the time, fire was an instrumental cause.
Right.
Me as a knowledge mode illuminates IOA, and at the time, Rag is present as instrumental cause.
Okay.
So you need to digest this slide much better. You have to go in your own way to think about it and get a feel for it, because this is the one really gives, and it took lots of time. I mean, it took several hours for me to create, but it's not important. Important thing is, if we digest this thing very well, then we are master on the 11th stanza.
So then I'm just curious now. So because this is all Vevarnai, I'm assuming when we have Nishaynai, we're going to have something to compare to in some other stanza, correct?
Yeah, no. In the same, we are, this stanza has 2 lines. We are on the first line only with this one. Second line says, in absolute point of view, dash thing happens.
So can you tell me now in English, what is the first stanza? First line?
Okay, I mean, let's put that line, first line over here. Okay, let me just bring it here. 1 second.
I'm sure we did that in the beginning.
Yeah, no problem.
Let's see, this is all Gujarati, that second.
Yeah, this is meaning. Omniscient Lord and spiritual monks have mentioned that conventional point of view is not true one. That's it. We are talking until this point only.
That's it?
That's it. We have talked so far. Conventional point of view is not true one. That's it. So what is conventional point of view? That's what we are analyzing right now. Then we'll come to the pure point of view, and he says that's a true one. That will be that's an absolute point of view.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then this explanation must be by Kanchi Swami or somebody else. This can't be.
No, see, this line is simply written by Kunkun Swami 2000 years back. This red one, this guy, yeah.
Right.
And then this is a Sanskrit analysis of the whole, those 2 lines. And from that Sanskrit analysis, Gurudev Sri Kanchi Swami expanded further.
That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Very good.
Awesome. Thank you.
Very good. We'll just do the closing now.
All right.
Javani ke gyan se suje lokalo, suvani mastaka namo sada deta huno. 9 times Namoka mantra. Namo Rinta, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Aryan, Namo Jam, Namo Lesosanam. Namo Siddhanam, Namo Aryan, Namo Jam, Namo Lesosanam. Namo Rinta, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Aryan, Namo Jam, Namo Lesosanam. Namo Rinta, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Aryan, Namo Jam, Namo Lesosanam. Namo Rinta, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Aryan, Namo Jam, Namo Lesosanam. Namo Rinta, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Aryan, Namo Jam, Namo Lesosanam. Namo Orientanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Aryanam, Namo Jam, Namo Lesosanam. Namo Orientanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Aryanam, Namo Jam, Namo Lesosanam. Namo Orientanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Aryanam, Namo Jam, Namo Lesosanam. Jai Jinendra, Mitchandakram.
Okay, Jai Jananda, Mochame Dukam.
Bye.
See you next Tuesday.
We'll see you. Bye.
Bye.